Dodgers. Looking awfully Philly of you out there. Gavin Lux, how you doing? You get in the top 5 when you're that piss poor with your defense tonight and striking out on the 103 heater because you made Edwin Diaz mad. Let's get those W's in the chat right now, folks. Mets win. 5-3 is your final. They take this series at home from the LA Dodgers, baby. Let's effing go. What a big series win. We're feeling electric. We got so much to break down in this whirlwind of a ball game in this Mets victory, everybody. But more than anything, let's get those W's in the chat. Where are my Dodger fans at, huh? I saw Dodgers fans saying it's luck. No, I'm sorry. It's not my fault that your defense can't competently play it. It's not my fault. You guys got to take advantage. You did it. You've been on base, how many times this series? Take advantage of the opportunities given you, and that is exactly what the Mets did in this series, and in this series dub. How's it going, everybody? Thank you guys all so much for chiming in for the latest post-game show here on WardyNYM. I'm juiced up at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time right now. We are feeling live. We are feeling electric. A big game, a big series for the team in Queens, and they stepped up, baby. The offense wasn't even perfect still this entire matchup. Clayton Kershaw made this offense look silly, but he was on a pitch count his first game back from injury, and the Mets jumped on that bullpen. The Mets, Francisco Lindor, Starling Marte, even James McCann had a good day at the plate, folks, and this all cultivated in this big dub for the Mets now, folks. Talk about a statement. Talk about a series. This was absolutely huge. I know Jeff is going to be pissed. Sherry, how's it going? Shout out Mama Worm. Shout out to everyone here in the live chat, guys. We got so much to get into in this massive series dub for the team in Queens, everybody, but more than anything, again, we need to take a moment. Let's get those damn dubs in the chat. I want to see it spammed. I want to see it going. People on replay in the comments below, you know what to do, baby. Let me know your biggest takeaway from tonight's dub, and make sure to let me know in the comments below right now, guys. Let's get it in there. Let's get it in there. Let's enjoy these positive waves that is the Mets getting a big dub tonight. A big, big series dub over the Dodgers. They win this season series 4-3 over LA. Maybe we'll see again come playoff time, folks. We got a lot to get into. A lot. And I mean a lot to get into. What a crazy game. This was again a game that had two parts. You have the Clayton Kershaw carving out the Mets parts, and then you have the Mets taking advantage of every absolute opportunity given them, really all in hand because of Gavin Lux. Gavin Lux, who was the winner of game 1 in this series with 3 RBIs. No. He gave it all back. He gave it all back and then some. And then some. And then some. This is probably one of the few times that I will actually have a player of an opposing team at my Warriors top 5, but we had to do it today. We just had to do it. Yoshima, thank you so much for the $5 donor. Let's get some hype in the chat for Yoshima. Guys, let's get some more hype in the chat. What a big dub. Like I said, you know the drill. We got the plethora of topics. We got the plethora to break down going over this game. This was a whirlwind for a 5-3 victory for a Mets team now that's making a statement here as they will now face a team above 500 now. And so around I want to say it's mid-September. I don't know the exact date when they match up against the Milwaukee Brewers. So the Mets are going to have some lesser opponents now, but to come in against the Dodgers here, a Dodgers team that make all the excuses in the world that you want to make. The Mets were the better team at the end of the day, and they truly made a statement here. Edwin Diaz didn't even have his best stuff. The win helped him. The win also helped the Dodgers because Darren Ruff facing a righty in this one should have had a 2-run bomb, but the win was pushing, fell short to a deep RBI sac fly. So I don't want to hear the excuses. It's been every single opposing team, game after game after game. The Mets get lucky. Nothing is significant with them. No, it's not my fault that your defense cannot step up to the plate. What is important is knowing that the Mets actually took advantage of these opportunities given to them, even while they did not take enough of advantage against a Clayton Kershaw that was looking rusty in that first inning, and then he absolutely cruised after that for his next 4 innings. Guys, thank you so much for chatting, and make sure to smash that like and subscribe on. As I mentioned, make sure to check out the Bleav in Queens podcast. New episode is coming out 12 p.m. on the YouTube channel, 6 a.m. wherever you get your audio. Me, Joe Sorrell, and Anthony Recker are going to be pumped up to break down this series win and look at the upcoming series against the depleted Nationals. But Yoshima with the $5 donut. Yoshima says Mets dodged some losses. Now let's wash away the Nats. And yes, James McCann, McCann. Yes, he can. McCann can. I was ragging on this man. I always do. But again, if you were on my ball club, I am supporting you no matter what. I want you to succeed. And James McCann had 3 hard hit balls. They got a little unlucky, got himself a nice gapper that led to a run. But before we get into all that, again, guys, spam those W's, spam that like and sub button. Thank you guys so much. Yoshima, thank you so much for the dono. I'm feeling electric. Walter with the $5 dono. Thank you so much for that, Walter. I appreciate that. One more thing that I do want to mention to everybody here in the show before we get into breaking down the nit and gritty about this huge W, winning 5-3 over, yes, the LA Dodgers. I do want to, unfortunately, I'm going to bum it down a little bit because it's for good reason, though. Guys, many of you all know Elliot, who's a phenomenal member, a great friend on the channel. Elliot has been an OG on the channel, OG member since day one. And Elliot is always calling in, sharing his raw reactions when we take live callers after games. Unfortunately, I can't do that tonight because I'm on a short time. I have to record my podcast with Joe and Anthony right after the show. However, Elliot unfortunately had a terrible passing recently in his family with his nephew Isaac, who tragically passed at the young age of 19. And guys, we have in the description down below, it would mean the world to me for anyone that is willing to feel generous today to Elliot to please check out their GoFundMe for Isaac's memorial. Again, it's so heartbreaking stuff to hear, but Elliot has been such a huge supporter on the channel. I love the man. He's a great human being. I don't wish that on anyone. I can only imagine what his family is going through in these troubling times, truly heartfelt times. So guys, if you guys are at all interested, please check out the GoFundMe that I have in the description down below of today's video. This was in honor of Elliot and his family. And again, I wish him nothing but the best. I know that this is going to be a troubling time for a long time. Please check out their GoFundMe. I mean, it doesn't matter if you drop $1 or $1,000. Anything and everything will be appreciated. Check it out. It's in the description down below. My thoughts or prayers with you, Isaac. I know that you are looking down upon us. And of course, Elliot and the entire family, guys. So yeah, let's get those rip in the chat. Greatly appreciate it. I didn't know Isaac personally, his nephew, but I do know Elliot from really strong. Elliot, again, has been an absolute pleasure of not just being a great supporter on the channel, but an even better friend. He's been here literally since I first started the channel almost 2 years ago now. And he's someone like many of you guys that, again, if these things kind of happen, you reach out to me. I'm going to do my best to get the word out and try to get some traction. So I hope that this helps, Elliot. I really do. And again, my thoughts and prayers are with you once more. So that is all I have to say on Isaac and Elliot's front. Again, thinking of you guys always. But guys, let's get into this baseball game now. I know I had to bum it down a little bit. Elliot's in the chat. Let's get some love and hype in the chat for Elliot as always. He's going through it right now with his family. But I had to get that out early in the show to around 500 viewers because that was the best time to do it, especially for people on replay. Again, you don't have to. Again, doesn't matter how small or big you potentially donate. That'll go to a great cause. And trust me when I say his family can certainly need it right now. So thank you again, Elliot, for reaching out to me and letting me know what's going on in your personal life right now. I appreciate it, and I wish you nothing but the best. But now, guys, let's get into this game. Let's break down this whirlwind of a baseball game. Gavin Lux, how you doing, baby? Gavin Lux I felt like Gavin Lux was a Mets fan tonight. This schmuck did anything and everything possible to help give the Mets the W tonight, and that was a factor. And let's start off, guys. We got Clayton Kershaw on the bump. His first game back from his injury. He's been dealing with back issues for a couple years now, matching up against Seabass. And talk about a man that shoved tonight, guys. It was, in fact, Chris Bassett. Chris Bassett, you could argue, should be the number one star tonight. He was up there for me. He was my number two because Lindor, what he did, not just defensively, but offensively, was a game changer for the Mets. But Chris Bassett was no slouch tonight, guys. But as we break down the game, in the first, Trey Turner with a base knock to start off the game. Jeff McNeil fell on his knee awkwardly. Some of the grass was a little roughed up from it. Thankfully, McNeil was okay and stayed in the game. And then Freddie Freeman and Will Smith ground out to end the inning. We get to the bottom of the first, everybody. Starling Marte with a walk. Then we get Francisco Lindor with a single. Alonso with a walk. Darren Ruff pops up again. A lot of people were griping about Ruff in the 5-hole today. So was I. I like Darren Ruff, but he's had a go of it so far in his Mets tenure thus far since being traded from San Francisco in the J.D. Davis deal. Ruff only had right over 100 average in his career against Kershaw entering tonight. So this is where we have this argument of when are platoons really important, because I didn't agree with the matchup, and it held true. Darren Ruff did nothing against Kershaw. Neither did this entire Mets offense, other than walking in a run that held true right after, as Mark Canha walks in a run with an RBI walk, and then Jeff McNeil with a pop-up ends the inning. The Mets get their early 1-0 lead, but they had bases juice. This was the first time, folks, since 2010 that Clayton Kershaw walked 3 batters in an inning. And second is the first time since 2015 that Clayton Kershaw walked in a run. So again, Kershaw's first game back from injury, looking a little rusty, but that wouldn't last long. Sean, I do see the dono. I'll get to that shortly. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'll get all your donations, comments, and concerns after I break down this game, guys. And then from there, I'll probably cut things off for people on replay after we share our analysis and break down the game. And then we'll advance forward on answering your comments for however long we're going to go live today, guys. But we get to the second then. And this second inning, Justin Turner. Justin Turner had a nice series against the Mets. WardyNYM robbed him of a home run to dead center off Jacob deGrom yesterday, which I still can't get over. One of the best catches you'll ever see from the Mets. Since really a guy like on the man on the wall behind me, the signed photograph of Endy Chavez. Shout out to you, Endy. But Justin Turner gets himself on with a double. Gavin Lux with a base knock, his only base knock of the game. Thompson with a walk. Taylor with a 2 RBI single. And that was a little frustrating for a Mets team that, again, they had bases loaded, folks, in the top of the first and couldn't muster more than 1 run thanks to an RBI walk. You see the Dodgers get the lead, and Thompson is out at home. Some poor base running, some poor turn by the third base coach for the Dodgers to make that happen. And no less after that, Mookie Betts grounds out to end the inning. We get to the third, folks. It's the first 1-2-3 inning of the night for Chris Bassitt, and that includes Roberts. Dave Roberts, after 2 outs, is yelling, being the absolute schmuck that he is. Dave Roberts drives me nuts. He didn't know actually how baseball goes last time the Mets played in LA, let's not forget, where they were trying to do a switch or an exchange that wasn't legal, and Buck called him out for it. And then they, of course, just ran to get more time to get their pitchers ramped up. It was ridiculous. Mets split the first series against LA, and LA 2-2, and they win this series 2-1 and win the season series 4-3. However, Dave Roberts has a halt in play with 2 outs here after Freddie Freeman grounds out, and that leads to a pause, and Chris Bassitt has to get ramped up again. Buck is asking what's going on. Dave Roberts didn't like the fact that his hitters couldn't see pretty there in Citi Field. Oh, poor baby. Yeah, I get it. I guess I get it, right? What a schmuck he is. And again, make sure to get the schmuck shirts at shop.bleav.com. Links down below as always, along with a great 6 other options of designs between the Get Wrecked shirt that I have beside me right now. Right here, I'm going to wear this, guys. I will be in attendance to tomorrow's game, and I will be in the parking lot because Taiwan Walker's giving out free tacos, guys, starting around 5:15, 5:30 before the game starts in the parking lot outside of Citi Field. I will be there. Stay tuned. Make sure to look out for the schmuck wearing the Get Wrecked shirt for the blackout night with either Mad Max or David Pearson pitching as of now from what we've seen. But let's get back into this game for a minute, shall we? So we get Seabass with the 1-2-3 inning in the third. We get to the fourth. Justin Turner with a bloop oppo single, second base knock of the game, and then a double play ends the inning, and the Mets would challenge the play, and that would go in their hand. The first base, the ump was a schmuck, the first base coach was a schmuck. They all were, all of them. It sounds like a day that ends in Y, that I'm ranting about what's going on when it comes to this officiating. It's god-awful. I cannot wait for the day that we have automated umpires, because that's going to be a day where the game is actually going to be watchable, because it's so inconsistent. We saw that on display in tonight's game with the ump. But no less there, you see in the fourth that bloop single, and then the double play ends it after it was challenged by Buck because the runner was out going to first rather. We then get to the fifth. Again, the Mets are continuing to get carved up by Clayton Kershaw. They had nothing for the guy after that first. Clayton looked like prime Clayton after that first inning. Couldn't go long because he was on a pitch count of like 75 pitches, but he definitely made the most of his time on the bump against the Mets today. Mookie with a single. Lindor made an amazing play that you guys have seen the highlights, I'm sure. Such a good play to get the little backhand flip there that you see to Jeff McNeil to get the out at second. Huge play by Lindor, and that was one of the first of many big plays that Lindor made in this game. The one true highlight defensively, but he would also have the offense going that we will get into. Then we get, guys, to the third, at that point, rather, that is where you saw Clayton Kershaw retire 13 straight batters of the New York Mets. Yeah, the Mets had nothing. Clayton Kershaw on the day. 5 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts on 74 pitches. Clayton came to play after that first 0-9. We get to the sixth inning, guys. Again, in the top of the sixth, Max Muncy would have walked. Justin Turner would have walked. Third time he's on base tonight. And then the wild pitch sneaks through the wickets of James McCann, unfortunately, on a pitch by Seabass. I think it was slider that went down, not the right placement. And runners advance. Thankfully, however, Lux grounds out to end it, and this is where Lux would start to be at the forefront of helping the Mets in this game. And also, shout out to Seabass. He won 6 strong, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 4 Ks. Chris Bassitt is a 3.32 ERA on the year. Seabass, however, over his past good amount of starts, has a 2.5 ERA. Seabass has been huge. He's a guy that gets overlooked a lot when you see Mad Max and Jacob deGrom at the forefront of this rotation. But let's give credit where credit's due. Chris Bassitt has been an absolute bulldog for this Mets team for quite a bit now. Who would have thought that after the struggles he had in the month of June that he would come back to be the guy that he is right now? I guess I would have, because I know he's a veteran. I know he's a bulldog, or a Bassett hound, as you like to call him, knowing that he's in fact Seabass. But Chris Bassitt, bravo, a phenomenal outing from him. That was absolutely huge. Again, going 6 strong. We then get to the bottom of 6. You see Kershaw's out of the game, and Chris Martin, the reliever, comes in with a 3.5 ERA, and this is where trouble begins. Starling Marte reaches on an infield single. Now, Marte normally wouldn't have reached there on first, but thankfully Gavin Lux was playing a little slow, playing a little quiet, had his eyes closed, I guess, decided not rush to play to get it tossed to first, and that gets the speedy Marte on first in time for an infield single. Then Francisco Lindor barrels a bad boy, rips it for an RBI double, folks, and right after that, which ties the game 2-2, Francisco Lindor with one of the ballsiest steals you will ever see, stealing third base. And how does he steal third base? The tag, if it was down properly, would have got him out. But guess what? Gavin Lux was there at third base and could not get the tag down. Brutal stuff. Pardon me, was it actually, no, I'm trying to think, was it Gavin Lux or was it Justin Turner? One of the two. I know Gavin Lux is the one that messed up the play. Maybe it was Justin Turner there at third. Either way, bad fundies by the Dodgers that we see there to allow Lindor not just to get the RBI double, but more importantly, to get that huge stolen bag with less than 2 out. And that'll be huge for a Mets team, where then you have Alonso strikes out on a high fastball out of the zone. Sounds like a day that ends in a Y. He struggled mightily in this series. Alonso still is in a run of things right now. Thankfully, didn't hurt the Mets too much to prevent them from, say, getting a series win like they did today. Darren Ruff, the first time he's facing a righty this entire game, and this is where the platoon topic comes into play. Didn't do anything against Kershaw. Against the righty, though, so close to a 2-run bomb. It falls just short there to Chris Taylor in left field. That brings in the game-leading run. 3-2, the Mets have the lead. Marcana grounds out there in the bottom 6 to end the inning. Mets have a 3-2 lead through 6 innings. That's huge. The Mets get the momentum back after being down 2-1 for the first half of this game, everybody. And for everyone first chiming in, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. Thank you so much. We're trying to get 300+ likes by the end of the live show. And, of course, we're trying to get 18K subs for the next short-term goal here on the channel. If you guys enjoy consistent Mets post-game and overall Mets content like this, this is surely the place to be. We get to the top of the 7th, everybody. You see Trevor Mazin, and Trevor May, there's a reason why he's my number 4 star. Trevor May came to play and was an absolute bulldog when needed for the Mets. Didn't have his best stuff, but he got through it. He walks Thompson to start things off. Then he strikes out Taylor, strikes out Mookie Betts. Thompson steals second base. That's fine. Trey Turner with the flyout ends the inning. This has easily been one of the better outings we have seen from Trevor May all season long. Hopefully that this is a confidence booster for him, because look, the Mets need reinforcements in their bullpen, and they're sticking with internal options right now. So you need a guy like Trevor May to get back to what he was last year, which was a very solid reliever for the Mets. He's been so Jekyll and Hyde, so roller coaster this year with the injury that he dealt that had him out for a couple months. Trevor May, I really hope that for your sake, this is a confidence booster, striking out 2 big bats, and again, getting out of that inning unscathed in a 1-run ball game was nothing short of massive, and you deserve absolute credit for what you were able to do for the Mets in this bullpen today, 100%. We get then to the bottom of the 7th, guys, with 2 outs. James McCann rips after ripping like 2 baseballs at least 100 miles per hour around there, unfortunately landing in the gloves of the outfield for the Dodgers. This time it gets in the gap for a nice 2-out double, and that would be huge for the Mets, because Brandon Nimmo then gets a fly out, you would think, to right. Mookie Betts, Gavin Lux not having great dialogue. Gavin, not knowing what to do, lets the ball drop. It gets behind Betts, and James McCann head down right the entire time, brings in the 4th run of the ball game, folks. Or was it the 5th run? Again, I can't do math, so maybe that was the 5th run for the Mets. Actually, I believe it was. Again, I can't do math, so that would check out why I'm a mess right now. Or actually, no. Maybe, no, I'm blanking. Marte had an RBI base knock in that inning as well. I don't know why I don't have it in my notes, but Marte also had an RBI single. I'm trying to think there. Why am I know why I'm an idiot, but I know Marte did have an RBI base knock. So was it the 7th? No, it had to have been the 6th then. It was the 7th. It was the 7th. Okay. Again, I'm an idiot. You guys know this. My mistake. No less, Marte would drive in a run there in the 7th as well to give the Mets a fairly comfortable 5-2 lead over the big bad Dodgers. We then get, folks, to the 8th inning. Edwin Diaz in a non-safe situation to face the big hitters for the Dodgers. And Edwin did not have his best stuff. See, Freddie Freeman gets on with a walk. You see Will Smith with a hit by pitch. Max Muncy, deep fly out to right. Thankfully, Marte gets there in time, but that was so close to being a 3-run bomb. That's where the win benefited the Mets in this one. And then right after that, Justin Turner trying to get himself a home run that he was robbed by Brandon Nimmo yesterday, and today it falls short on the warning track in the glove of the Mets outfield. That brings in a run on an RBI sac fly. However, that would be the only run that the Dodgers would have left in this ball game. And then to cap things off in the 8th, Edwin Diaz is absolutely juiced up. He's pissed off, and he strikes out Gavin Lux, the man of the hour, with a 103 heater down the pipe to end the inning. I mean, when Edwin's mad, he just casually hits 103, the highest velo he's ever hit in his career on back-to-back nights, no less. Shout out to you, Edwin. Again, did not have your best stuff at all day. You were hating your slider that led to these deep flyouts, but thankfully didn't hurt the Mets too much. We get to the bottom of the 8th, everybody. Daniel Vogelbach would have walked, pinch chain. He would then be pinch run for not Mackenzie Gore. I'm thinking of the wrong player. Terrence Gore, who's won 3 World Series in his career, all without having little impact. You saw the Kansas City Royals, saw the LA Dodgers, and you saw the Atlanta Braves, all where he had very little to any at-bats. Terrence Gore comes in, and he steals the bag right away. The fastest man already in this Mets roster. I mean, Marte's fast, but Terrence Gore is ridiculous. This man, as a speedster, steals second base with ease, guys. The Mets would not do anything that inning, but we get to the 9th. Adam Ottavino looking for the big 3 outs, and Nasty Adam came to play once again. Thompson with a strikeout. Taylor with a strikeout, and Betts with a flyout would end the inning, folks. Mets win this ball game massively by a final of 5-3. Talk about a statement. That was the entire statement here in this game 3, guys. I said it best. Even if the Mets lost game 1 in a tight game, 4-3 ball game that they should have won, it was a game where the Dodgers were not on their best game and the Mets weren't either, right? They're both leaving runners on base. We get a game 2 yesterday, a tight nail biter, but the Mets held true thanks to Jacob deGrom with another masterclass. Brandon Nimmo with the catch of the year, and the Mets just narrowly getting enough offense thanks to a Starling Marte home run yesterday for back-to-back. Marte was huge this series. Francisco Lindor was huge this series as well. Lindor, who was in a 0-for-20 rut entering the series, guys, went 5 for 9. Absolutely huge for Francisco Lindor. Have that big RBI double. Francisco Lindor continues to prove why he's important for this club. Not just on the defensive side of the ball, but offensively too. Casually 86 RBIs on the year, which leads the Mets franchise record now, surpassing Jose Reyes, who originally had, I believe, 81 was the team lead up until this year, in which Lindor has passed that. And Lindor's on pace for 100 RBIs this year. That's huge. Francisco Lindor, a stud defensively, a stud offensively. And that is exactly why Lindor is my number 1 star in Warriors top 5 tonight, folks. He goes 2 for 4 with the double, the RBI, the run scored, the stolen bag. Chris Bassett gets my number 2 star because without Seabass, who knows where the Mets are in this game. Seabass left many runners stranded, got some key outs thanks to some nice turn double plays and some key defense by Lindor in this overall defensive front in the infield. Marte's my number 3 star. Marte, he went 2 for 4, not 2 for 3. I always mess up a statistic. You know this. If I don't mess up at least one stat when I'm doing my graphic, my show, clearly I'm doing something wrong. Again, reasons why I'm not a mathematician. I'm just a content creator. Marte went 2 for 4, not 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs scored. Trevor May's my number 4 star. Bulldog Trevor May gets a scoreless 7th with back-to-back punchies. That's huge. And my number 5 star, all jokes aside, it is Gavin Lux. This man helped hand the win to the Mets today. Thank you, Gavin Lux. Hope you have a nice flight back home to LA. I'm sure you're going to have a fun one for sure. But the Mets win this huge matchup, guys. And before we get your donations, before we get to the comments and concerns, let's break down some key updates for the Mets right now on their call-ups. Of course, today, September 1st, was the beginning of expanded rosters, going from 26 to 28 men. You could add 1 reliever and 1 guy on the offense. Now, the Mets, unfortunately, as expected, did not bring up Mark Vientos, something that I disagree with, but it is what it is. I'll probably talk about it a little bit more of my podcast as long as we remember to mention him. No less, the Mets bring up infielder Marrero, and they bring up right-hand pitcher Donis Medina, whose biggest outing he had this year was that huge save against the Dodgers to secure secured the series split back in LA in June. Those are your acquisitions, the guys that are called up to expand the roster from 26 to 28. But the biggest news, something that really I thought that Alvarez had surgery on his ankle, I was wrong. Francisco Alvarez, Mets top catching prospect, top prospect in baseball, actually. In fact, looks like he's going to continue to play games this September, which is huge in AAA right now, assuming he will not be called up. Alvarez has this type of, mass, some type of thing going on with his right ankle. He got a cortisone shot. We'll see how he feels. He'll begin ramping up with baseball activities in the next 3 to 4 days. And if that does well, depending on his progression, he will return to AAA Syracuse again within potentially the next week and a half, depending on how he's feeling and how that cortisone shot was. So thankfully, after a second opinion, the Mets are not losing their top prospect for the remainder of the year in the minors. That is massive. Francisco Alvarez, he's a stud. He is the inevitable heir apparent to someone like Mike Piazza, potentially the next best thing since Mike at the catching position. Huge bat, has been having a strong year, still getting adjusted to AAA since he was set up after dominating AA this year. But Francisco Alvarez looks like that he will still play games before the year ends in the minor leagues. And yeah, that's really all I got for you guys. This was a massive win, a huge one. We got a bunch of donations I want to get to. But more than anything, everyone here in the live chat, guys, I want to ask you guys this big question. What is your biggest takeaway from tonight's win and overall series victory? What is your number one star? Let me hear it in the live chat right now. For people on replay, let me know also in the comments below. What's your biggest takeaway from this massive 5-3 win, winning the series 2 out of 3, winning the season series against the LA Dodgers, the best team in baseball? Oh, no biggie. 4-3. Let me know your biggest takeaway in the comments below. People in the live chat, let's get those donations, comments, and concerns now. But for people on replay, this is where we're cutting things off.